teamLab Borderless is a digital art museum with no map. Rooms just melt into each other, and some are hidden, and it's really easy to get lost and miss the best part. Which is why in this video I will show you the must-find spaces without ruining the magic. Share some practical tips to save time and beat the crowds, and explain how to take solid pictures that look like what you actually saw. So let's go feast our eyes and prepare for a visit, shall we? teamLab is the collective behind Borderless and Planets in Tokyo, the new BioVortex in Kyoto, and if you are from Singapore, you may know their work from Fuchsia World at the Art Science Museum. Borderless used to be in Odaiba, but moved and reopened in Azabudai Hills with updated spaces in February 2024. So now, 2 years later, it's still quite shiny and new. I will address the elephant in the room right away. This is not a comparison video, because we only did Borderless. We live in Singapore, so we have already seen some teamLab style work at the Art Science Museum, and someone in our group was very anti getting their feet wet. So, if you are choosing between Planets and Borderless, like we were, Planets is a guided sensory route where you get your feet wet, literally. Borderless, on the other hand, is a space where you wander with no map and just discover intertwined rooms. If you are still considering your options and are up for a walkthrough with suggestions for your visit to Borderless and some photography tips for this environment, you are in the right place. First things first, the location isn't too obvious, which is precisely why there's a man, of course there's a man, this is Japan we're talking about, ready to give directions. Even if you didn't ask for them. Even at 8 AM on a Saturday, all you need to do is find the Garden Plaza building and go down a level. This pyramid across the street is your perfect landmark. Entry is timed, so I strongly recommend buying tickets online. It will save you time on the spot because you can just join the right queue straight away. And unlike the Shinkansen, there's no need to print your tickets because the QR code from your email will do just fine. Also, there's a very real chance that tickets will be sold out if you just show up. Reservations are usually available several weeks to maybe a couple months ahead. I booked our passes 2 weeks before our visit in October, and time slots were already limited. Pricing is dynamic. It depends on the day and time of your visit. For adults, it is roughly 36 to 5,600 yen, so about 23 to 42 US dollars per person. We paid 11,200 yen for an 8 AM Saturday slot. You will also see a few discounted tiers, and sometimes there's a flexible pass available that lets you enter anytime just on a specific day. Inside, there is no time limit, but do mind that re-entry is not allowed unless it is supervised. And last entry is usually 1 hour before closing. Obviously, weekends are busier and weekdays help. My biggest tip is to go exactly at the opening. And now I will show you exactly why. Here's one crucial thing to understand about Borderless. There is no map. None. No fixed route, no right or wrong direction. At Borderless, you will get lost. But that's the whole point. Doors can be anywhere, and I won't spoil the fun for you, so no hints, but I will show you what to look for. There are several main rooms, and the rest is, well, Borderless world. Corridors where art spills out, moves between spaces, communicates with other art, and it's all constantly changing. Even if you've watched a ton of videos, your own visit will not be spoiled, because the real impact is being inside. The whole experience is immersive. All your senses start to wake up the moment you make it in. The soundtrack by Hideaki Takahashi will send you to other dimensions. It will be your eyes looking and you feeling all that curiosity, calm and gentle uplift. So don't worry about spoiling anything for you. Now let's have a look at the main rooms and how to shoot them well. This 360-degree display is the iconic Borderless scene. It will probably be one of the first things that you stumble upon. And the name could not be more honest and telling. A rock where people gather is exactly where people gather. So get in early and snap those clean pictures right away. Because no matter how diligently stuff keeps seeing just spread out, people still form a line for the spot, where the rock is in front and the waterfall is behind. So if that's what you want to, and I suspect that you do, time it. Because once you're up, you are doing this, even if the waterfall is barely there or already moved. So observe the cycles first. On your way out of Borderless, you can spend some quiet time here. Maybe enjoy some photogenic kinetic exhibits or catch kanji drifting across the walls like I did. It is oddly satisfying. Again, as the name suggests, this is where you can draw a sea creature, scan it, and watch it come alive as a character on the wall aquarium, or even turn it into merch, if you manage to find the sketch factory, that is. Once live, these fish have some tricks up their sleeves, but those you will have to figure out on your own. But don't be too surprised to see, let's say, a tuna drawn somewhere else in the world. We were familiar with the sketch ocean since Art Science Museum in Singapore has a similar experience. So this time we decided to skip it in Tokyo. But note to all the fellow visitors, the drawing tables at their lab are limited, so queues can happen. This one here is the only exhibit inside Borderless that will cost you extra. It opens later than the main museum, at 10 a.m. to be precise, and yet it is possibly the busiest Borderless experience.
2 sets.
We paid 2,600 yen, which is about 17 USD, for 2 sets with tea and ice cream. For me, the choice was as simple as it gets. See Yuzu, pick Yuzu, no questions asked. But it turns out that the choice actually matters. Once you are seated in this dark hole, they bring you your order, and then the magic begins. Once there is tea, there is art. Your tea starts to bloom, flowers appear, butterflies are drawn in, and the whole scene reacts to how you move your cup. What flower you get depends on the kind of tea that you chose. Same goes for ice cream, which, by the way, is remarkably good. Needless to say, the earlier you come, the better. And not just to beat the crowds, but because the venue can run out of certain kinds of tea and ice cream early on. Moving on to the next room, one of the most striking in Borderless. Officially, it's called Bubble Universe, but somehow my mind immediately jumped to snow globes. Or maybe even Turkish lambs. Whatever your visual cues are, these glowing spheres combined with a mirror floor give you this full-on infinity look. Since the light here is really soft, it is a good place to shoot some portraits. So catch your preferred colors, watch for unwanted reflections, don't touch the spheres, and let your imagination run wild. A couple of things to know before you sprint here. This is one of the most popular rooms, and some people just go looking for it right away from the start. If you want some breathing space or possibly even to have the whole place to yourself for a couple of minutes, I suggest you do the same. Why a couple of minutes, you might ask? Because the Bubble Universe is also a timed attraction. teamLab gives you 5 minutes in the mornings and then changes it to 3 minutes when the place gets busier. Whatever the case, stuff at the entrance will let you know. Infinite Crystal World is the signature teamLab infinity room across all its locations. With hundreds of hanging LED strings, mirrors everywhere, and this full 3D light tunnel effect. It is definitely a wide-angle photo location because those reflections were born to be used for vertical perspective. And pro tip, make sure to shoot from the hip, not looking down from above. Just try it, you will thank me later. If you are keen, consider adding some shapes to the equation through an app on your smartphone. And basically, have fun with the camera and without it. I saved the best for last. This is the room that really stood out for me. Most areas in Borderless are light projections on flat, even surfaces. But Dissolving Flames uses vapor, so the whole scene turns into this smoky light waterfall. There are a few performances here, and the rotation is posted at the entrance, so make sure to pay attention. The fiery one was my absolute favorite. It just begs for moving silhouettes and sensual motion blur. Even black and white works beautifully with this backlight. I have a few friends who are dancers. I would absolutely shoot them there. But there's a catch. Of course there is. The place is super hot and super humid, which makes it impossible to stay for a really long time, and it is full of lasers. So be extra careful and make sure that your camera sensor doesn't get a direct hit from the beams, because if it does, you can kiss it goodbye. Okay, people, concentrating. Now that you've seen the headline rooms, here are the rest rapid fire. Some are for stillness, some are interactive, and some are just worth stumbling into. Microcosmoses are really hard to find. And the room feels like the Department of Mysteries. The flickering spheres are great subjects for low aperture bokeh shots. This place is the darkest, quietest place in the whole museum. So much that there are even corner warnings at the entrance. Give your eyes some time to adjust, and then you get a clean space teleport vibe with structures that react to your presence. The area called Memory of Topography ships this digital rice paddies energy. A sloped, patterned landscape with changing surfaces. Frozen Transparent Life offers visitors a contemplative ocean room. Just stand still and observe until you get this feeling of being inside a connected sea, where every wave in the world is linked to another and touches it. Dissolving light is technically not even a room, but more like a connective tissue between rooms, full of walking processions just drifting through the corridors. Practical tip: interact with those characters and see what happens. Obviously, I didn't show you everything, so I suggest that you check locations before going to know what exactly you are hunting for. Like I said, there is no fixed route or signs along the way, so the base rule is explore and try to find them all, I guess. In case you skipped the previous parts and jumped directly to this one, I will repeat. Definitely come here to the very opening, because later crowds are gonna gather. You can absolutely come here with your kids or take your significant other for a date. But tell your girlfriend not to wear a skirt, because there are mirror floors after all, and Japan doesn't exactly have the best reputation when it comes to clandestine photography. Depending on how excited you are, you can be prepared to spend from 1 to 2 hours here. It's very easy to lose track of time inside. It's like a casino in there. So if you are short on time, pay attention. Remember that aside from ice cream and tea, there is nothing to eat or drink inside, but a lot of options are available in the Garden Plaza.
Им бы в техаусе брауни продавать, если вы понимаете, о чем я.
teamLab Borderless has a locker room, and it's mandatory. Strollers are not allowed inside, so a baby carrier is a better option for you. Backpacks, selfie sticks, tripods are not allowed either, but you can carry a small purse or a camera or two. It should hardly come as a surprise that toilets inside are spotless. What is a surprise though, is that those toilets have power banks available. So borrow one if you got overzealous with your content. These tips should grant you a seamless experience at Borderless. With that sorted, let's finally talk about teamLab photography. So, lenses and aperture. If camera is your weapon of choice, wide lens is 100% the way to go here, both in terms of focal length and aperture. For big establishing shots, any 14 to 20mm lens is your workhorse. If portrait and details are in the mix for you, wide angles may sometimes be unflattering. In that case, you can add an extra 50 or 85mm prime to your gear list. If you can only take one lens, which is probably a smart move, go with a 35. Or bring a fast 24-70 zoom and call it a day. Mobile photography is a bit different. On most smartphones, the 0.5 ultra-wide lens, roughly 13 to 15mm equivalent, looks amazing on paper. However, in low light, that lens usually gives you a lot of noise and lower quality, but you could still use it in the brighter rooms like Crystal World. Most of the time, your best bet would be the default 1x lens, which is roughly a 28 to 35mm in camera terms. It has the best sensor and stabilization and should give you the best results in those conditions. You can occasionally switch to a 2x for portraits, but only when the light is strong. If you are filming videos and lights flicker, try switching to 24 FPS and turning on PEL. That should do the trick for you. Like I said earlier, selfie sticks and tripods are not allowed. Obviously, neither are flashes, but lower shutter for this low light setting is too tempting for projections. So practice steady hands. 1/10 is very doable. If you want your people sharp, aim for a 100th or faster, depending on other settings, obviously. If you are okay with that artistic motion blur, 1/15th to 1/30th looks pretty great here. Now, onto ISO. In the dark spaces, don't be afraid to up your ISO. I don't know where your loyalties lie, you might be against AI, but the denoise function in Lightroom is just a godsend. So count that in and make sure to check your camera's native ISO as well. And friendly reminder, I'm pretty sure that you know this on your own, but just in case, always shoot in RAW if you're planning to do some work and rescue some of the shots later. Projection and LEDs are exactly the opposite. They clip easily. So in the high key settings, always expose for the highlights and try negative exposure compensation, both on your cameras and your phones. I am sure that you will find your own inspiration in the hallways of teamLab Borderless. After all, this is exactly what you were supposed to do. But just in case you need my 5 cents, here are a couple of ideas. I got totally carried away with all the dramatic backlit silhouettes I mentioned before. Use reflections to double the space, and lines on the floors and walls as direction lines for leading perspective. They were basically born for it. Artistic projections here are definitely a thing, but you need to find the right time and place for it to work. As you can see, I wasn't too lucky with timing, but you get the idea. Try to include a subject, even if it's not your subject. Otherwise, some pictures and locations might look flat and empty. If you're planning outfits, choose light, bright, and maybe even sparkly fabrics, because those will catch the projections. Unless you are going for mimicry and isolation, which is also cool. Last tip, or more like common courtesy. Whatever your objective, remember that there are other visitors, so make sure to respect their time and space as well. I honestly believe that that is more than enough to prepare you for a smooth, fruitful, and super photogenic borderless visit. Just one final tip. If you want to continue your photography workshop, head to the Azabudai Hills sky lobby and observation deck with this perfect view of Tokyo Tower. But again, if you do, there are two things to consider. First, to get in, you will have to buy something at the cafe, and it is honestly not too great. Second, some zones might be closed off. 10 meters that way, you got a whole lot of view. Why? Just because. I don't have any other explanation. Also, to get the best of this location, make sure to bring that. It's gonna help you with the reflections. Bring a lens skirt. It will take your photos to the next level right away. Congratulations, you are officially all set. I really hope that helps, but if you do have any further questions, make sure to drop them in the comments and I will get back to you. Have a great trip. Let me know how it goes. If you actually enjoyed this as much as we did, hit that like button, all that jazz, you know what to do. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again on one of my other adventures across Asia and Australia. See you soon!